One character attempts to help another who seems to be in peril. The rescuer assures their companion that they've handled worse situations before. Instructions are given about following a specific path and stabilizing oneself. There's mention that the Vostod module no longer helps with stabilization, though this is framed as a positive development. The speaker promises to explain everything once they reach a quieter location. The characters identify a place where they can talk privately. The speaker emphasizes the importance of listening carefully, claiming to be experienced in this situation. There's an indication that they're in an unusual environment that requires specific knowledge to navigate. It's revealed that both characters are in a state called Limbo. The speaker explains that memories will begin returning as acclimation to this world occurs. They mention a Vostod module that was installed in the listener's head, which blocked memories from before Bulgaria, especially about their true identity. The speaker directs the listener toward the depths of consciousness as a starting point for climbing toward an exit from Limbo. This suggests Limbo has spatial properties that can be traversed, with deeper regions holding significance for escape. The nature of Limbo is described as a fascinating dreamlike world, a flash of time frozen between life and sleep or death. The speaker has been there for 3 years, noting that everyone perceives Limbo differently. Instructions are given about choosing weapons and continuing downward. The speaker requests that upon escaping Limbo, the listener should find rings they had discarded. These rings apparently have the power to make them disappear from collective sight forever, suggesting they're trying to hide from some organization or entity. A crucial revelation occurs as the speaker identifies herself as Blissner, Katya Nietzscheva, and states she is the listener's wife. She explains her current form is called teardrop, describing herself as the first reconnaissance officer in the unnatural world. A confrontation with a hostile entity begins. Despite initial hopes for peaceful interaction, the entity proves aggressive. The speaker urges the listener, Sergei, to defend himself by throwing gingerbread men at the demon spawn. The speaker explains that the listener's struggles stem from Limbo's natural reaction to their ego. They're approaching the end of a path which follows some predetermined plan. The speaker offers encouragement, noting progress through various sections. Background information reveals that both characters died in Bulgaria in 1952. They were saved but subsequently used for unknown purposes both in reality and Limbo, even by a figure called Comrade Man, Granny Zina. The speaker expresses desire for a normal life. News arrives that their physical bodies have been discovered. Soldiers from various units, Argentum, Krypton, Radon, have entered an office. The speaker wonders who's giving orders since the Kollektiv hasn't launched yet, suggesting they still have time to escape. Creatures encountered are explained as projections of the listener's ego, manifestations of internal conflicts and sense of injustice. The speaker characterizes this as fighting oneself, describing it as useful maximalism. A significant moment as the listener declares remembering everything and refutes being the speaker's love. They acknowledge being monsters created in Facility 3826 Labs who need each other despite having been separated for 3 years. The environment contains fragments of others' memories with mechanisms the listener supposedly won't understand. Despite relationship tensions, the speaker indicates she's been waiting and remains nearby. Another confrontation with a hostile entity called Comrade Gingerbread Man begins. The creature apparently recognizes the speaker from previous encounters. A battle ensues with taunting and violent exchanges. Philosophical observations about the mind's complex nature and its relationship to time. There's reference to a dead dog that causes sadness when remembered, though this memory doesn't imply the dog intends to cause upset. During continued combat, the listener expresses missing Katya deeply and always having missed her. The speaker characterizes this as the most difficult final battle. There are suggestions of a previous negotiation attempt by Katya. The speaker reveals being dead even before the listener repeated my gambit. Biblical references about not judging emerge, with warnings that this won't end well. Orientation shifts to escaping upward. The speaker urges finding her in the rings, apologizing for lack of tenderness. Humor emerges with the term limbunkers, lightening the mood briefly before returning to escape plans. A conversation reveals that neuropolymer replaces part of the brain that should already contain something. The characters agree to discuss matters once they escape their current situation, with one character expressing limited memory of past events. A warning is issued about an upcoming difficult confrontation despite previous successes. This foreshadows a significant challenge ahead for the protagonist. It's revealed that Granny Zina accessed information through Dr. Sechenov's data. As head of communications, she discovered details about atomic heart. The protagonist is advised to focus on upcoming challenges rather than this revelation. The final safe area is identified with a warning that repressed memories will soon resurface, bringing shame and fear. This emotional processing is described as a useful preventive measure despite being unpleasant. The protagonist feels treated like a child. The plan involves reaching a location called Chelomey to find important rings. Sergei recalls finding Katya attractive when angry. He apologizes for past events in Bulgaria where he failed to save her properly, instead rescuing Kuznetsov. A confrontational scene occurs with threatening language, including commands to pray to a tin god. The tension escalates as characters face off. Alpha forgives Sergei, suggesting resolution of past conflicts. The real world awaits, with emphasis on obtaining beta connectors that are crucial to their mission. A philosophical moment explores how actions have erased boundaries between good and evil. The protagonist expresses desire for independence and justice. Advice follows to use intelligence and strength, with a Russian folk saying about 2 turnips in 1 pot. An insight reveals the protagonist feels guilt not for actions taken, but for failures to prevent outcomes. This is described as a psychological trick avoiding true responsibility. The conversation suggests it's time to stop dwelling on past regrets. The protagonist is accused of escapism and warned against ignoring reality. This isn't their world, suggesting they're in some artificial or mental construct rather than actual reality. Aggressive confrontation occurs with combat-like commands and taunting that the battle is only beginning. The hostile nature suggests a significant conflict. The protagonist is urged to accept their identity and return to their wife. References to awakening and remembering suggest they're in an altered mental state. Their companion mentions they've worked toward this goal together. A revelation that the protagonist was designed as a covert soldier, so secretive that even their creator would be unaware. This suggests extensive manipulation and hidden programming in their development. The Atomic Heart Project is described as having an aura of cold and blood. While nobody wanted to use it, the project inspired the creation of soldiers like the protagonist, meant to intervene if anyone went too far. A figure called the Wizard approves of this safeguard. An explanation that peaceful robots don't become soldiers without reason. The deception is intentional, so no one suspects the truth about their purpose or capabilities. A philosophical question returns to what the protagonist truly wants, with encouragement to pursue that desire. Sergei realizes someone is trying to escape this strange mental landscape. The surreal journey continues upward through P3's mental world, which appears weak or poorly constructed. Multiple conflicting voices and personalities create a disorienting experience as reality fragments further. In a moment of clarity, the protagonist reassures Katya they'll overcome their challenges together. The immediate objective focuses on finding the rings, suggesting they're crucial to resolving their situation.